Here are the top 5 apps that collect your data. Now, if you're on your iPhone and you want to make sure your privacy is secure, I'm going to walk you through some apps to check and make sure that they don't have access to your phone where you don't want them to, and how to ensure that your privacy is protected. Now, if you basically look up the top advertising companies, this is a good place to start in terms of companies that have an incentive to get your data. So essentially, if they're advertising based companies, they want to get your personal data to share ads with you. So essentially, if you're looking for new TV, they want to know that so that they can show ads for new TV and get paid by doing so. So let's go through the steps of making sure these top advertising companies are not getting your data where you don't necessarily want them to. So you can see on this list Google, Meta. Meta, of course, is Facebook, Instagram, etc. Alibaba, Amazon, and ByteDance. ByteDance is the parent company of TikTok and their editing app CapCut. Now let's go through the process. Let's go into our settings here. And we're going to scroll down until we find privacy and security and tap on privacy and security. Now on here, it's nice that your iPhone has basically collected all of the privacy settings that you might want to turn on or off in these instances in one place. Let's first go to location services at the top. Now on here, I would recommend looking for those specific apps and seeing if you have shared your location with them. Now let's scroll down to Facebook, for instance. Now, if I have, yes, I can share it and share my precise location. Again, Facebook potentially, when you're tagging a post in a specific spot, say you're in San Francisco and you're tagging that you're, at a certain coffee shop or something like that, then Facebook knows you're in San Francisco, you're at a coffee shop. Let's show them ads for an event or a dinner or a restaurant in San Francisco near where you are. I would recommend switching this to never for, again, these advertising-based companies. So on here, Facebook, and then you can scroll down, and Instagram, you might want to turn it off for that as well. And then go through this list. If you see TikTok on this list, or another big one is Reddit, you might want to turn that off as well. Essentially, any apps that you don't need to access your location to use and properly use, then I would turn it off. So for instance, stuff like Google Maps, then, of course, you can't use Google Maps if you don't necessarily have the location services turned on. It's essential to using that app. So I do have it turned on, but I don't have it set to always. Keep in mind, it's only set to while I'm using the app. Now let's go back out of here after we've done the location services and tap on tracking. Now, this says allow apps to ask to track your activity across different apps and websites. Again, I'm not sure why anyone would allow a company to do this. Essentially, this means if you turn this on, Reddit or Spotify will ask and be allowed to see what you do on the Instagram app or what you do in Google Maps. Again, I don't know why you would ever turn this on, why anyone would turn this on and have companies be able to track your activity from one app to another app or one app website to another website. So make sure you turn this off no matter what. Now let's go back out here, and you also should check this, for instance, the camera. So again, you'll notice various apps on here that might have requested access to your camera. You might want to turn them off if you don't use them. So for instance, Spotify, I don't need access to my camera. And you can go through this list and turn it off again if you don't need it. And then do the same thing for microphone. You might want to turn this off. For instance, let's say I don't want Snapchat to have access to my microphone. I'm going to turn that off. Now, once you go through this list, make sure that your location, the microphone, the camera are turned off on some of these big advertising apps if you don't necessarily use it. The next thing I would recommend doing is hopping out here. And if you're okay with it, I would recommend deleting that app. So let's, for instance, delete the Facebook app and hit delete and delete it. And then just open up a web browser and we can always go to facebook.com. Now, what you'll find is after you log into facebook.com here on your phone, you'll find that the web-based version will protect your privacy a lot better than a lot of times the apps will. So for some of these, you might want to just use the web-based version, for instance, going to facebook.com. The reason for this is we can go into our settings and go back out here, tap on apps, and then scroll down until we get to Safari. Let's find Safari, or if you're on Google Chrome, you can go there as well. Because you can do certain things, you can see prevent cross-site tracking, you can turn on, and hide IP address from trackers, you can turn on. Fraudulent website warning and not secure connection warning, you can turn those on. And at the very bottom, you can tap on advanced, and you can see advanced tracking and fingerprint protection. I have it set to all browsing. And then you can choose if you want to block all the cookies, you can turn that on and block all cookies that any website or company might want to download onto your device to, again, track your activity from one website that you might visit to any other website that you might want to visit. Now, keep in mind, all of these are steps that we've taken in your iPhone in the settings and in Safari, but you can also just hop into any of these apps themselves and tap on the profile. Let's tap on the 3 lines at the top right. And then we can get in here and, for instance, you can control exactly what your permissions and privacies are in the app itself. So for instance, app website permissions, you might want to control this, which apps and websites have permission to basically have access to this app. You can also go down and you can go to the privacy center here and make sure you go through the privacy checkup to ensure within that specific app for that specific company that your privacy is protected and you're only sharing what data you are okay with sharing to that specific company. But again, a good default is just going through and tapping and holding, hitting remove app, and then deleting the app, and then just using the web-based version whenever you feel like it. I hope this helps. If it did, hit the subscribe button down below. Really helps me out. Thanks, guys.